Hey, 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 what it is, what it do, what it be, what's good, my good people. You know what time it is. You know where you is. You know what it is. Yes, it is that time once again. It is the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes, this is still the place where possibilities become perspective. Yes. Thank you so much, guys, for rocking with me once again in the I Am the Possible universe. I am your host, Travell C. W. Lynch, Mr. What? And guys, I want to first off pause for the cause before we jump into anything, baby. We got to give it up for the cause. You are it. You are the cause. You are the why. You are the reason. You are the cause. You are why I do what I do. You are the reason I show up each and every week. I want to thank you guys so much for every email, every text, every comment, every recommendation. This has just been an amazing journey, and I'm just looking forward to continuing to serve you guys for many more seasons to come. But today, guys, I want to just jump right in because I'm super duper excited, as I always am, about what I want to share with you guys. As you guys know, one of my philosophies is that your presence is the greatest present that you guys could ever give me. And so I really want to take today to kind of step back a bit and really reinforce, really engage with, really reinstitute identity innovation. Okay, identity innovation. It is so important that we have what I would consider a next level identity. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you guys right out the gate is many of us struggle with self-confidence. Many of us struggle with having a sense of validation in this world. And one of the biggest problems with, creating confidence, feeling validated, is that we often choose a poor source of that confidence and that validation. So let me just say something right out the gate. If man can give it to you, then man can take it away. And I would even go as far as saying, and it's only a matter of time before they do. I'll say that one more time for the people way in the back. If man can give it, you fill in the blank. But if man can give it to you, then man can also take it away. And it's only a matter of time before they do. Now, I am absolutely on board. I absolutely champion your desire to be confident within yourself and to experience a sense of validation in this world. I believe every person should. Every man, woman, and child walking the face of this earth should absolutely be confident within themselves and feel validated. The problem for many of us is that we choose a poor source of that confidence and that validation. Now, let me get real specific, as this applies to the place where I want to, and I am already beginning to have a great impact and influence, and that's the workplace, the workforce, our employment, our places of employment. See, for many of us, and I'm going to read a note that I took down here, got my notes in front of me here, and I want to read it the way that it came to me. Seeking confidence and validation from our work rather than for our work is a deadly recipe. It totally kills, it totally poisons the efforts. When we are seeking confidence and validation from our work rather than for our work, and I'll help this make sense in just a moment, then we're setting ourselves up for some of the greatest failures, disappointments, heartache and heartbreak, frustrations imaginable. See, when you are seeking confidence and validation from the work that you do, it positions you to be dependent upon people to give it to you. And the last time I checked, we can neither please people, we can neither, what was the word I was thinking of? We can't please people. We can't satisfy people. We can never do enough to elicit enough praise, accolades, kudos, pats on the back. Like we're never going to be able to do enough to get from them enough to satisfy what we're seeking. Now, here's the good news. In just a moment, I'm going to share with you the most reliable, most trustworthy, most dependable, most consistent source of confidence and validation. And let me just pause real quick because I didn't say it in the beginning because I was just so excited again. I really got to get a ring on this excitement here to really open up with what is it that we're tackling today. Today, we're tackling workplace confidence. We're tackling workplace validation. So many of us go into work, whether it's punching the clock literally or calling in to a number that says we're there, or for some of us, if we're in a certain position, just showing up on the job. We don't need to clock in anymore, but we're just there. So many of us are waking up each day, getting into our cars, going into work, and whether we are aware of it or not, many of us are not, we are seeking validation. We are seeking confidence in and through what people say to us and what people do for us. That is working for, right? That is working for confidence and working for validation. But there's a better way to do this thing, and it's called working from confidence and from validation. Let me share with you a quick story. This is many years ago. I would say maybe 10 years ago or so. Early on in ministry, after me joining the church, I grew up not being validated and not having much confidence. And this is another topic for another day, but the truth is, many of us are 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 7-year-olds. 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds. See, what I mean by that is that our bodies, we've become a 20-year-old adult or a 30-year-old adult or a 40-year-old adult, but our minds, we're still living as that 7-year-old child. And this is my story, that was bullied, picked on, made fun of because I stuttered, because I was overweight, because my mother wasn't in the home, because my father wasn't there, because I was being raised by my grandmother, and because she was a seamstress, she made my clothes. So the kids knew that I wasn't buying clothes from the store. I mean, the list goes on and on and on as to why they bullied me and picked on me and just ridiculed me and found everything that was wrong with me. I was always isolated. I was always shunned. I was always, not let in. I was, as I like to say, I was either the last one picked or the one that wasn't picked at all. I was never let into the cool kid club. I was never accepted. I never felt accepted. So my self-esteem, my self-confidence, it was void. It just wasn't there. And a sense of validation. I mean, my grandmother, she did the best she could. My aunts, my uncles, they did the best they could. But I didn't have a real consistent source of validation. Like, hey, man, we love you. You're appreciated. Hey, look at what you can do well. I mean, I didn't get a lot of that growing up. And I don't blame my aunts. I don't blame my uncles. I don't blame my grandmother. They were doing the very best that they could. But the environment that I grew up in, and just because of my because of my situation and my circumstances, it just played out that way, right? So many times, guys, it's just the way, life panned out. It was just the cards I was dealt as a young man. But the point that I'm trying to make is that in my formative years, in my young years, I didn't have a lot of confidence and I wasn't validated. And so as I got older, right, I just got older in body, but the mind was still very insecure, very afraid, very timid, and always seeking and searching for that validation, for that confidence, and for that love. Because I think that desire, it never goes away. We just try to attain it in different ways as we journey through life. And so here I am, a new Christian, joining the church, And this is something that I can look back on as one of the stories that I can really, key in on and say, yep, I remember my unconscious attempts to build my confidence, my unconscious attempts to feel validated. I was in my church, first one in, last one out. I served in every ministry I could, and none of those things were, quote, bad. I was doing what I felt I should do at that time. But the way that it got twisted was, and as I look back and reflect on it, was I was doing it after a while to feel validated and to feel more confident. I was actually working for those things rather than working from those things. You see, showing up first got me kudos. Being the last one out, it got me kudos. One of the lines that I can absolutely remember people saying, yo, you are so faithful. They said some other things that made me feel good, right? But that was one that really stood out. Oh, you are so faithful. Oh, Travell is such a faithful man of God. Oh, brother, you are so faithful. And just that term, that statement, you are so faithful. You are so dependable. We can depend on you. We can rely upon you. That was like a badge of honor. And I began to crave it. And again, I don't think maliciously in my mind I was doing anything just to get that. But as I look back, I see how I was bending over backwards. I was probably doing way too much. I was probably taking on too much. I was probably, in just overload and being overwhelmed and just kind of taking a lot of it on and just keeping it to myself, because I was saying to myself, man, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've always desired. This is what I've always wanted. And look, I'm getting it now in and through my church family. So maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you can relate to doing too much. Maybe you can relate to bending over backwards. Maybe you can relate to being a people pleaser. Maybe you can relate to showing up first and being the last one to leave so that other people can notice you, so that other people can comment, so that other people can make you feel good. And now you're addicted. You're addicted to those kudos and those pats on the back and those high fives, and that you are so faithful. So I just wanted to share that story so that you get some context and you really understand exactly where I'm coming from. So let me kind of break this down, right? Let me break down the science of working for your confidence and validation versus working from. So now from, okay, and I'm just kind of reading from my notes. From says, if I do a good job, they will respond and I will feel validated and confident. Okay? If I do a good job, then they will respond and I will feel confident and validated. Now, here's what it means to work from, and this is possible because I've done it, and I'm here to show you how. To work from, right, confidence and validation, this says, I am a good job. Have you ever thought about that? Like I am, right? I am the possible. I am a good job. He that has begun a good work in me will be faithful to bring it to pass, right? We were created in God's likeness and his image. And in Genesis 1:32 down at the bottom, or might have been 31, right? But the last verse, God looked over everything that he had created and it was good. And in the Amplified version, it says it was good and he validated it. Oh my goodness. See, working from says, I am the good job that God's already working on and already working through. So it's not about them responding, but check this out. It's about God already responding. So now I go into work feeling validated and feeling confident. See, working for it, I'm depending on people. Working from it, I'm depending on God. People will change. God will not. People will be up one day and down the next. God is consistent. See, this is that stability, people. This is that stability. When it's coming from your creator, when it's coming from God, when it's coming from your source, capital S, then that is sustainable. That is consistent. That's not going anywhere. When it's from people, then it's how are they feeling today? What mood are they in today? How do they feel about themselves today? Because that's going to reflect and project onto me. There's so many variables. You see, there's so many variables with people. Not that people are bad, not that people are evil, not that people aren't good. They are. But there's so many variables with people. Is that really where you want to establish your confidence and your validation? Is that really where you want to put your feel good vibes, right? I mean, is that really where you want to really invest in this thing that I think everybody should experience? Self-confidence and a sense of validation. Let me read this one more time because I really want to drive it home. From I do a good job and they respond and I feel good. Okay? From I do a good job, they respond and I feel good. You see how I'm dependent? I do, they do, I feel. I do, they do, I feel. Well, what's wrong with that equation? I can do and they might not do. How then will I feel? When you are depending on people for your validation, for your confidence, it may be up one day, it may be down the next. And if that's the case, then that's going to determine how you feel. Then those feelings are your emotions, and that's where the emotional roller coaster comes from. Does that make sense? That's where the emotional roller coaster comes from, because you're looking to other people to be something that they cannot be. Consistent. People are not consistent. And it's not a ding on people. It's reality. It's the truth. We're not consistent because life isn't consistent. But see, God exists outside of the realm of our reality. So God doesn't, he's not influenced. He's not impacted by the weather, right? He's not influenced by LA traffic. You see, those things don't get under his skin. So if you're looking for dependency, if you are establishing a dependency on God, then it's more stable because he's going to be the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. You go to God, hey God, am I good? He's going to be like, yep, you're good. The next day, hey God, am I good? He's going to be like, yep, you're good. You go to that person, hey man, did I do a good job? Yeah, but you could have did more. Yeah, but you missed the spot. Yeah, but you didn't cross that T. You didn't dot that I. Come on. You know what I'm talking about, right? So I hope and pray that through those illustrations and through those things that you really get exactly what it is that I'm trying to communicate. Now, again, that was from. Again, for, it's I am. I am the good job. Oh my goodness. That's revelation. That's iAMthepossible. That's the butterfly. It's I am the good job. I'm God's good job. Aren't we God's workmanship? Ain't that what the Bible says? That we're God's workmanship. Well, I am the good job. He's working on me. He's working in me. He's doing a great thing in me. He's doing a great thing through me. I'm God's good job. That's right. I am the good job. And you should be able to say that about yourself. I am the good job. Yeah, yes, baby. That is identity innovation. You are who you are. For me, I'm Travail, but I'm also Travail, God's good job. You put your name there. You say your name and then say, I am God's good job. Now, with that revelation, with that type of attitude, with that type of perspective, you feel me? Now we're able to go into work, into the workplace, already built up. I don't need your validation. I don't need your confidence. I don't need your kudos. I've already gotten it. Why? Because now the equation is, because I am a good job that is being done, God has already responded, because back in Genesis is when he responded. He said, I look over everything and I find that everything I've created, including you and I find all of this to be good. Good. And I, God, creator, I now validate it. It's done, baby. It's a wrap. Don't you understand when something is done, it's done, right? There is no take back, right? I forgot what the name of the game was, but like as a child, it was like if you traded something or gave something back, there was this little saying that we say, slap, slap, no get back or something like that. I'm probably tearing it all up. But if you're from the old school, you're born in the 70s and 80s, it was this game where it's like, if I gave it to you or we exchanged something, I would say this little phrase that would let you know, ain't no get backs. Ain't no re-exchanging. This is done. And that's what it is for God. With you and I, we're his good job and it's done. We're already validated. So we don't need to go to man. We don't need to go to a job. We don't need to look at our careers and be dependent upon those things for something that we're seeking and that we're depending on. Hope and pray that makes sense. All right, guys, got a few more things to share with you. Let me check out my notes. All right, guys, let me break this down for you. And again, I'm going to just read from the notes so that I don't screw it all up. Your problem isn't being enough. It's seeing enough of yourself. I'll say that one more time for the people way in the back. Your problem isn't being enough. It's simply seeing enough of yourself. That's why I say that the greatest form of self-development is self-discovery. We got people in this day and age talking about being true to themselves. They're talking about being authentic. They're talking about being genuine. They're talking about being the best version of themselves. And what I find funny is that most of these people that would say those things, they are not looking to their creator. It's just like me saying, hey, if I didn't know what this was, what is this? Right? If I wanted to know what this was and then someone came along and said, hey, that's a magnifying glass, but I was unaware of what it was. I had never seen one, never held one. And I'm like, yo, man, what is this? And someone says, hey, that's a magnifying glass. Who's the best person to go to find out more about this little guy? It's creator. It's the creator. Who better to go to than the creator of a thing to learn more about the thing? How do you be your best self? How do you be authentic? How do you be genuine? How do you be authentic if you don't involve your creator? That would be like me saying, yeah, this is a magnifying glass. And so I'm going to just make up its meaning. I'm going to just make up its purpose. I'm going to just make up whatever I want to make up just by looking at it one or two times. I'm going to just make it up. Well, see, many of us, we're playing make-believe with our own lives. I just feel this way. I just think this way. So I'm going to just be this, or I'm going to just be that, or this is the best version of me. You know something about versions? Versions has to do with innovation. How can you innovate something if you don't know what it was in the original state? I'm really kind of going off notes now. Now I'm on my soapbox. Right? Because it kind of pisses me off sometimes. The lack of respect that we give God. And I was there, man. I was 100% there. I was doing my own thing, running my own shots. And here, truth be told, even as a Christian, there are times where I will do my own thing, call my own shots, until God slaps me on the head and says, you do realize this thing called life, I created it. This little thing called a person, I created it. You don't know what you're doing, son. Will you please come back to your creator and inquire of me, and I can get you back straight. I can realign you, get you back on the right path, and so you can go ahead and move forward in life as you were designed to. I don't know how many times that's happened. So I'm not here on a soapbox saying I'm better than you or that I never mess up. No, I screw up all the time. But it's this idea of humility, this idea of like saying, yo, God created this. And whatever you call God, whatever name you got for God, man, do you, right? But it's this idea that there is something greater than you. You can't be your own God. You didn't create you. You ain't that smart. I'm not that smart. We're not that smart. We did not create this universe. We did not create this. The sun don't come up because we tell it to. The rains don't fall from the heavens because we tell it to. Like, we got to get real with this. You see how my voice is changing? I'm getting real passionate, right? Soapbox alert. All right, I'm going to rein it back in Let's get back to my notes, okay? Okay. Our problem, not just your problem. Let's make it our problem. Our problem isn't being enough. Our problem is seeing enough of ourselves. Just like I wear these glasses. When I need to look at my notes, I need to put these glasses on. The notes are there. They're on the page, but I can't see them until I put some better lenses on, some glasses where I can actually see the words, right? Well, God can give us a lens through which we can look through and see ourselves as we really are. Without him, without the creator, what are we really looking at? It's just like when I look at this screen right now, it's like blurry. And I think we have a blurry image of ourselves. But God is available. Thank God that God is available to give us a new set of lenses in which we can look through and see ourselves better. Guys, I always say I hope and pray that that makes sense. Dude, I know it makes sense. I know it does. And I hope and pray that more people would receive the things that I'm saying. Okay? Especially if you're someone who does not have a lot of self-confidence and you don't feel very validated. Okay? So now let me continue with my note here. Your problem isn't being enough. It's seeing enough of yourself to do what? To be confident in the value you add to this world and the company or the organization, aka the work that you do. Guys, this is about discovering yourself, learning yourself. You can't live what you don't learn. How do you be the authentic you, the genuine you, the best version of you if you haven't learned you? You can't live what you don't learn, right? Many of us say, hey, what's 2 + 2? 4. Well, you had to learn that though. You can't live that mathematical truth. You can't put two things together and make, you can't put 2 of this and 2 of this together and make 4 unless you first learn that mathematical truth. The same is true of us. Our problem, like equation, right? That root word comes from equation, like a mathematical problem. It's something that needs to be figured out. You can't figure yourself out without God's help. It's a mathematical problem. It's an equation. And so, guys, our problem isn't being enough. We are enough in and of ourselves. The problem is seeing enough of ourselves to go into the workplace and to go into the world, right? To go into work and to go into the world with confidence and validation already working on the inside of you. You already got it. I'm not coming here for nothing. I'm not coming here to get anything from you. I'm coming here to give something to you. That's the new attitude. That's the new confidence that I desire for you to walk in. When you show up to work, you're not showing up to get nothing from these people. You're showing up to give something to these people because you know your value and you know your worth based upon being God's good job. That makes sense. That makes sense. So guys, we are talking about a worldwide value. A worldwide value. A value that you bring into the world and a value that you bring into your work. It's a worldwide value. That's really what it is. It's a worldwide value. You're valuable wherever you go. Your value, listen, your value is applicable anywhere and at any time. Now, depending on where you are, your effectiveness will, change, right? Because in some places, you're needed more than you are in other places. So this isn't about like everywhere I go, I got to be the superstar. I've got to be Superman. I've got to be front and center. No, it's depending on where you are, you're more or less needed for a given thing. What I'm saying is that no matter where you go, you're going to feel good about yourself. No matter where you go, no matter who you're around, you're going to feel good about yourself. And when called upon, you're going to be able to be confident and validated pre-performance, right? Not post. Many of us are performing on our jobs to get 5 stars, to feel good. No, pre-performance. I'm already good. I'm already all that. And so now I'm going to respond out of that. I'm going to work out of my confidence. I'm going to work out of my validation rather than for. You see? It's working from, not working for. All right? Come on, guys. Come on. This is all working together. All right, guys, let me share a few more things with you, and then we're gonna wrap it up. All right, a few more things. Number one, please realize in our formative years, Pastor Kerwin, shout out to Pastor Kerwin L. Manning, my senior pastor, my spiritual father, and my main man all around. A few Sundays ago, he talked about this, about the layers of lies that are painted on us in our formative years, right? Just like a house, the original house, it's made up of whatever materials, and it has an original color. Or some, they're just wood grain, so it's just a natural wood color. And then someone purchases the house and they come in and they paint, first layer. And then maybe someone else comes in and buys it over again, and then they paint. And maybe you have some people that rent it and they get permission to paint. After a while, you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coats of paint, and you have no visibility into the original state, condition, and value and beauty of that home. The same is true of our lives. We came into this world, God's little workmanship. And then the world, through their ignorance, they didn't know any better. They painted these layers of lies on you. Like in my life. You're the fat kid. You're the yada, yada, yada. We're gonna make up these little dumb names to call you. So I took it on. Layer number one. Oh, ha, ha, ha. You stutter. You can't talk right. Another layer. Oh, your mother, she's on drugs, she's on alcohol, your mama ain't in the house, yada, yada, yada. She's a this, she's a that, right? Take that layer on. Where's your pops? Where your daddy at? Oh, your daddy ain't in the house with you. Oh, your daddy don't love you, yada, yada, yada. Another layer. And just layer after layer, man. Layer after layer. They just put these layers of lies. And what they're lying about is who you are. What they're lying about is the value that you bring. Because with every name that is other than your name, with every harsh, critique of just you as a person, every time someone talked about you and said something damaging to you, it hit you on the inside. Like you internalized it and it became your identity. And then you began to live out of that fear and out of that timidity and out of that closed offness. Right? That was the truth for me. Very isolated, very shut off. Right? Didn't think I had any value. Didn't think I was worthy of anything. Didn't think that I was loved. Didn't think that I was welcomed anywhere. I began to just do my own thing apart from other people. I became very selective and just really off to myself because of the layers that were painted on me by people that just didn't know me. And, they didn't know themselves. So again, I don't fault these people. I don't hold grudges. If I don't know me, I don't know you. But the great thing is that the more that we learn about ourselves, the more we can appreciate about ourselves. And then in turn, if it's really genuine, if it's a genuine, if it's a real, if it's a authentic appreciation for yourself, what I've discovered is God gives you a lens to then see everyone else in the same way. Because now if I can see myself with all of my flaws, I can see myself with all of my gifts and my talents and my treasures and my God-given abilities. If I can see my God-given value, then I now look out and I see yours. I now see yours. Yeah, I can see your flaws. I can see where you might want to get it right. You might want to change some things. You might want to fix some things. Yeah, whatever. I can also see your beauty. I can also see your value. I can also see how great you are. I can also see the giftedness within you. I can also see the great things that you are bringing into the world by your very presence. And now it's a mutual exchange of love and appreciation, you see. So for many of us guys, it was in our formative years where they painted those lies on us. And I want you to know something. It is so liberating and so freeing for you to forgive them. They did not know what they did. They did not know what they were doing. They did not understand what they were saying. And I say that respectfully to those of you who have been hurt on a very serious level. Because I know a little something about that. I've been molested multiple times. I've been touched. I've been ridiculed. I've had some horrible, horrible things done to me over my lifetime. And I forgive them all. And so again, I won't push hard on that because there are some areas that are so sensitive that nobody has the right to come in and tell you to get over it. And I don't want you to hear that. I'm not telling you to just get over it. I'm saying consider liberating yourself by forgiving people for what they did and what they said, because you acknowledged that they didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea. They were working out of their own hurt, because truly hurt people hurt people. If they hurt you, someone at some point hurt them, and they were just projecting and passing it on. All right. So I won't continue down that path, but maybe someone needed to hear that. All right, guys, I got one last story that I wanted to share with you guys before I wrap it up. One of the first actually it was the very first assessment that I ever took, was called a spiritual gifts test. And I'm going to put the link to that spiritual gifts test down in the show notes. And I would really encourage you guys to take this assessment. It was through this assessment that I discovered that I was a teacher spiritually, and that through that gifting of being a teacher, I am anointed. I am purposed and positioned to educate, to communicate effectively, not only in the body of Christ, but in the world at large. So this is why I'm a speaker. This is why I do keynotes. This is why I do trainings. This is why I do podcasts. This is why I facilitate. This is why I speak on panels. This is why I, wrote, several books, and I got more books to write. It's because I'm an educator. I learned that through this assessment. Once I learned that, I understood the value, not just this general God-given value, but a more specific value that I can offer the world, right? Because you are valuable in and of yourself. But then through self-discovery, you learn the specific value that you can then bring to an organization, to your family, in the marketplace. Everywhere I go, I educate. Every opportunity I get, I educate. And sometimes I got to kind of, cut it off a little bit and kind of reel myself in sometimes, because I can kind of go overboard, because I have a passion for teaching, a passion for educating. But it began with an assessment. And I want to encourage you guys to take this assessment and all the other assessments that I will continue to provide in these show notes. This season, I'm going to continue to press on these assessments. We must learn ourselves. Remember, the problem is not being enough. It is seeing enough of yourself. If you want that confidence and that validation, if you want to work from it and not for it, it's going to begin with you making the decision to begin to truly learn yourself. Remember, you cannot live what you do not learn. That's bottom line. You cannot live what you do not learn. It's just not happening. So the more you learn about you, and this is one of many assessments, one of many things that I've learned about myself. I've got assessments on just about everything: workplace competencies, my personality types, my working geniuses. I mean, everything is so fascinating and so amazing. And when I finished up my coaching certification, I learned how my emotions work. I learned how my framework works. I learned how just the inner workings of our minds and how they connect to our bodies. And oh my goodness, the list goes on and on and on. It's amazing, fascinating work. But more than anything, what it does is it equips you, it empowers you to be super confident in your life, in who you are, and and the value that you bring into any situation and any circumstance. So I'm going to continue to press upon you, to push and to plead to take these assessments. And I would love, man, hit me up at iAMthepossible.com. Drop me an email. I would love to know your results. I would love to know your journey. I would love to partner with you and to come alongside and just know, what you're up to, what you're learning about yourself, and how you are going to apply those things in your life. Guys, I'm a coach. I'm coaching now. So if you are in a space where you need that extra accountability, you need that coach in your corner, you need somebody who can walk you through these things, who can take you to that next level of really working, from that confidence and validation. Here I am front and center. I'm ready to serve you in that capacity and in that way. Just hit me up, iAMthepossible.com, and I will put that link in the show notes. Let's get on a call today. You feel me? And let's get you confident. Let's get you validated. Let's get you built up. So because I learned that I was a teacher, let me just show you really, really quickly how this has benefited me in the workplace and just life overall. I took a 2-year contract and turned it into a 6-figure income. Okay. A 2-year contract, and I turned it into a 6-figure income with no education, no background, no experience, because I knew who I was and because I knew what I brought to the table. Guys, we're starting to wrap it up, so I don't have time to go into all the details, but I think that should be enough to spark your interest. I took a 2-year contract. I was a contracted worker. I wasn't even hired into this corporation. I had no previous experience, no background, no education. I dropped out of college twice. I barely made it through high school with a C average. And I was able to, through self-discovery, through the things that I'm sharing on this podcast, I took that and I was able to go into this space. I was given an opportunity. I took my shot, and I was able to, obviously with God's grace, with God's grace, okay? But there is a part that we do play in this, that I took a 2-year contract and turned it into a 6-figure income and becoming a leader in this corporate space. I've been promoted. I don't know how many, I've lost count how many times I've been promoted, received raises, bonuses. I've lost count because I learned myself. And I promise you, the more you learn yourself, the more your life can go like this. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you. If I can do it, you can do it. Again, your problem isn't being enough to get the promotion, to get the raise, to ascend in whatever career space or business space or church space, ministry space that you desire. It's not about you being enough. It is about you seeing enough of yourself to have enough confidence and enough validation to begin to take the proper steps forward, to know how to navigate this thing called life, in and through a knowledge and an awareness and an appreciation and an acceptance of the good job that you are. Guys, let me check my notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything else. Let's just see. No, I think I covered it all. Lastly, let me just say, as I close out, and yes, I'm a preacher. I've closed 3 times already. You can tell. I just want you to imagine. I think this is very important. I want you to imagine, because you know what life is right now. You know how life looks. You know how life feels. You know your reality as it stands today. But I want you to imagine being totally aware of the value that you bring, being totally confident of the value that you bring, having a validation that is within you, that is sustaining you, that is carrying you, that is continual, that is continuous, that is never cut off, is never shut off, is never taken back. This confidence and this validation, it is working in your life on a daily basis, so that every day that you wake up and you head into the workplace, and for some of you, it's going to lead you to a new workplace, because you're going to be that much more aware of how they're not valuing the value that you bring. Okay, so for some of you, you're going to be inspired to take your talents, right? Like LeBron James said, right? I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Some of you guys are going to be inspired to take your talent somewhere else where you can be appreciated, where they can value you. Not that you need it, but it's a nice to have. It's a nice to have. When you don't know your worth and value, you'll let people treat you any old type of way. But boy, oh boy, when you learn how precious you are, you will start to demand more of yourself and for yourself. There's going to be some higher standards created in your life because you are going to know, hey, I am God's good work. I'm God's good job. And I'm here not to get anything from you guys, but to give so much to you guys. Imagine going into work like that. Imagine showing up in the world like that. All right, guys, truly, I am now done. Love you guys, praying for you guys, believing in you guys. Take these assessments. Check the show notes. If you're watching on the tube, they're in the tube notes down in the description. Let's click those links. Let's take these assessments. And again, if you're someone who is looking for just a different level of life, then I can help to coach you there. I specialize in self-leadership coaching. If you can't lead yourself, how can you lead anyone else? If you don't know yourself, how will you be able to know the people in your life that you desire to have the most impact and the most influence with? Everything starts with you, and I'm here to serve you in that way. So hit me up. Click the link in the description or in the show notes of your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, this is Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? Telling you, hey, listen, man, you are what you are. And what you are, it's enough. Until next time, love.